Disclaimer, this isn't meant to express any religious views or comment on a religious situation. Enjoy. Oh, fantastic! Another Contro-History. And this time we're talking about a topic many of you have been asking for. Some of you have asked, what if Jesus was never crucified? Or what if the Romans kept persecuting the Christians? I can answer both of those questions right now. Basically, Christians would be a small religion alongside Judaism, and if Jesus was never killed, his death would not be the push for his followers to spread his teachings. And if Romans kept persecuting the Christians, the religion would never become mainstream and would be an offshoot of Judaism. So I'm going to combine all of those scenarios into the video, what if Christianity never existed? This is basically, Jesus was never born, he was never sacrificed, and Christianity just didn't exist. Yay! This is gonna be great, guys. Can't wait to read those comments. So what if Christianity never existed? No historical background leading up to this or anything, just the religion didn't happen. Well, for one thing, our world, of course, would look completely different. Entire ethnic and regional groups would be changed, continents and balances of power would be shifted, and what we know as the Western world would be alien to what we see today as Europe or the West. First, Europe would have many different religions. So what I mean by this is, one, most of Rome-dominated Europe would follow the Roman gods, such as Jupiter and Neptune. This polytheistic ideal will shape Europe's identity and the way it interacts with other groups and people. Odds are that the Roman gods would stay infused in the local population's minds even after the fall of Rome, since there would be no Theodosius to make Christianity the official religion of Rome, and no Catholic Church to affect the politics of Europe. Which brings me to my next topic, the Catholic Church. If there was one main power player throughout European history, it was most likely the Roman Catholic Church. The Pope made decisions which affected European leaders, and the Church dictated actions across the Western world. Actions which transcended borders across Europe. Then once Protestantism grew to resist the Church, most actions of the Western wars of the later second millennium were caused in part by religious divisions between Catholics and Protestants. So if the Church never existed, it's impossible to know how different European history and world history would be if such a large power player just simply didn't exist. Islam. Islam was directly affected by the rise of Christianity and Judaism. It's a monotheistic religion directly tied into Christianity and Judaism and the Holy Lands of all three. Odds are that if those two never rose, Islam would not have risen either. This changes the entire history of the Middle East and Central Asia, as well as the identity of Egypt, Syria, Turkey, Iran, and many others. There would be no crusades, but that doesn't mean there wouldn't be wars between Europeans and Arabs. We'll talk about that soon. Fourth, since Roman gods and Germanic pagan gods would be the religions of Europe, the idea of polytheism would be the main type of religion, not just in Europe, but mostly across the world. The state sponsorship of Christianity by the Romans legitimized monotheism in Europe as an actual religion which held special status on the continent. However, if this never happened, polytheism would be the main idea of the world religions, and the idea of monotheism as seen by the Abrahamic religions would be seen as barbaric and strange. So in this world, Europe would be much like India. India has Hindu gods, however, Hinduism is not a one religion, it is a collection of many Indian religions. This is how it would be in Europe. Many different Germanic and Nordic religions would be seen by the outside world as the same, even though in reality, Europe would be even more divided than it was in our timeline. Catholicism and Protestantism may have separated Europe and caused different rivalries and wars. However, these two sects took different ethnic groups who were not related and united them under religion. If this never existed, we would see Europe be separated by hundreds of different gods and beliefs, basically isolating even more groups and tribes, leading us to Europe would still have tribes. We hear about African, Native American tribes, and even sometimes Middle Eastern and East Asian tribes, but we never hear about European tribes. Now why is this? Simple. Our good friends, the Catholic Church. See, after the fall of Rome and the invasion of the new Germanic tribes into Europe, the Catholic Church was a main power holder in the region. So basically, the Catholic Church began to teach the modern nuclear family, a husband, wife, and kids, with a few relatives, but nothing more. Basically, this new system slowly yet surely stripped power away from the tribes, and the tribes fell out of existence due to state building, religious ties, and feudalism. So we can assume if Christianity never existed and the Catholic Church never came about, Europe would be very tribal, with Southern Europe being like the Middle East relations to the tribes, and Northern Europe being like the Americas. So it's very hard to really know how the world would be because there would be such a big difference between our world and this non-Christian or polytheistic Western world. But I do want to say one thing before I end this video. Many people on the comment section will say that Christianity and such religions caused the wars and caused horrible death and destruction, and while that is not at all false, it's not entirely accurate. See, the reason why I said that a war would still occur between the Arabs and Europeans, or the Spanish kingdoms and the Moors, is because religion is not just the main cause of wars. It's one of the many justifications humans use to kill each other. See, the Crusades and the Reconquista were about religion, but they were mostly created by rulers on both sides who used religion as a gateway to legitimize power, as rulers throughout human history have always done. So odds are, even if Christianity and Islam didn't exist, they would still find a way to kill each other, because both sides would see each other as barbaric or some other reason, be it race, language, or culture. Humans are always finding ways to kill each other, and I think people need to know that rulers can use religion as a conduit for power to get their objectives into the world and to gain land and riches, and that war is a natural human product, and that even without a certain faith, we would still find ways to kill those different than each other. Can't wait to see your guys' comments on this one. Obviously, I didn't go too in-depth in one video with this, as it's impossible to know how exactly things could have turned out if 2,000 years of worldwide history just rewrote itself, so this is a nice little generalization. Next, we'll bring you a new suggestion box in Rome Part 6. Until then, like us on Facebook, subscribe if you have not done so. This is Cody from the Alternate History Hub.